The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
The following program contains mature content. Any opinions expressed are those solely of the host and any guests. Listener discretion strongly advised.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the virtual campfire we call Wise Thoughts. Each episode of Wise Thoughts is a step inside my mind. You never know what I'm going to talk about. You never know what you're going to hear. But one thing's for sure, it's always going to be interesting and entertaining. And hey, if you like the show, do us a favor. Would you give us a positive rate and review and share us with your friends? And make sure you check out more episodes of Wise Thoughts by going to the website, purplepitstudios.com, purplepitstudios.com. Just look for Wise Thoughts under the cavalcade of shows, all available at purplepitstudios.com, won't you? Sounds good. This time on Wise Thoughts, we're going to talk about, well, it's something kind of special. We got a studio update, and we're going to talk about why people can't be civil to each other anymore, this time on Wise Thoughts, so stick around. Hey, thanks for tuning in to the show. If you want to contact me, you can tweet at me on Twitter at Terry Weiss. You can also follow me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Weiss Thoughts. And if you want to check out my YouTube channel, just search for Weiss Thoughts on YouTube. Now, let's get back to the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to Wise Thoughts. Thank you so much for stopping by and spending some of your valuable time with me today. I truly appreciate you from wherever and whenever you may be listening to this program. Just want you to know, all of us here at Wise Thoughts, especially yours truly, Terry Weiss, I appreciate you. Unlike some people out there in the world that can't be civil to each other. We're going to talk about that in just a bit. Just wanted to give you a couple quick studio updates, okay? Some people have been emailing me and saying, hey, T, haven't seen much on the Wise Thoughts YouTube channel as of late. You were kind of posting some more, guitar stuff and talking about some things, and my sincerest apologies for that. I have been lacking in putting up videos on my YouTube channel, which, by the way, can be searched for at YouTube just by searching for Wise Thoughts. On a positive note, and I'll get to that in just a second. On a more positive note, though, we are almost up to 140 subscribers. I know. Some of you are out there saying, wow, 140 subscribers. Who cares? Well, you know what? That's almost 140 people. We're at 139. And that's 139 of you out there that took the time, A, to check out the channel, B, found something you liked, and C, said, you know what, I want to see what else this guy has to offer or what's going to come up here. I'm kind of interested. I appreciate that. I appreciate each and every one of you. And now for those of you that didn't subscribe, hey, I still appreciate you as well. But if you subscribe, that way you'll get notified when I put anything new up. And speaking of that, I have in the planner, in the tank, as they say, it's on my mind. I'm going to do it soon. Since the weather is kind of changing here in the Northeast as we're rapidly descending into fall, I have plans to do some more videos, some shorts videos with some musical instrument stuff, and some other just commentary type videos and vlogs type stuff. So look for that coming here in the next few weeks. It's just, folks, when I got into this whole video channel, everybody said, oh, you got to do a vlog, man. You got to do a vlog. Get on YouTube. You got to do something on YouTube to support the podcast. You really should do something on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that know what I look like, I have a face for radio. I've been told, and I'm not boasting by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not trying to be self-righteous or arrogant or narcissistic in any way, but people have said, hey, you got a great voice. I don't know. I hear my voice every day, and to me, it's like nothing. People have told me, you got a good singing voice, and said, you got a great voice for radio. I did work in that in my younger days and went to college for that and all that stuff. Big deal. I've done some voiceover work. People appreciate my voice, the tonality of it, the articulation, what have you. And I appreciate that. To me, it's just like, it's just like another appendage. It's like, yeah, I got an arm, I got another arm, I can walk and chew gum most of the time at the same time. But I do appreciate that. But the fact of the matter is people kept pushing, you got to do something on YouTube. So I went out and spent all this money on cameras for YouTube and, bought the Final Cut Pro and, upgraded the studio computers here, with the Mac computer and the new, M1's chips and all this other stuff. And I put up some videos and it had been received very well. I mean, lots of views. I mean, we're well over, I think we're into 30,000 views or something like that, or it might even be more. I don't know. But, 30,000 people watched some content that I put up, and I appreciate that. Let's face it, you out there in the general world and the general public, you have a plethora of entertainment to choose from, not just me. I mean, there's professional entertainment out there. There's other YouTube content creators. There's, all Rumble. There's all kinds of content creators, both audio and video. But you stopped by the channel, you watched some vids and left some comments, and I appreciate that. And I do respond to all comments, both positive and negative. But just letting you know, I do appreciate you. And, if you stop by the YouTube channel just look for Weiss Thoughts. I appreciate it. Watch a video, tell your friends, maybe subscribe if you feel so inclined. Like I've said many times on the channel and the podcast here as well, the audio portion of the program, I am not looking to, I'm not doing this for any monetary gain. This is not my life as far as my source of income or anything like that. The podcast makes a few pennies here and there from the ads that, are run on the podcast and that. Big deal. I mean, that just, what that does? That helps maybe pay for the podcast hosting platform. I'm not looking to, get these awards behind me in videos and, say, I got 8 million subscribers. Now, if that happened, would I go along for the ride? Great. If people find that, what I'm doing entertaining, helpful, insightful, whatever, cool. But, this is not my full-time gig per se. It's my life that we're talking about here and things that interest me and things I comment on and things I wax poetic about. However, it's not my main gig. And I said it before, and I will say it again, it's no disrespect to anyone that dives into YouTube or podcasting and wants to make it a career. God bless you people. You're doing God's work by providing alternative forms of entertainment and information than standard bought and paid for corporate media. So good for you. Kudos. Please keep it up. If you're doing it, don't get discouraged. Do it. Get all the help you can, get all the insight you can, get all the assistance you can, and the knowledge you can, and by God, go for it, balls to the wall. Good for you. Do it. So that being said, but there will be, long and the short of it, my friends, more content will be coming soon over the fall/winter months. I've kind of, taken a lazy-ass summer off, I guess, as it were. I had other things going on, things going around musically with the studio, personally, some things, professionally, some things to attend to. So those, obviously those took precedent. It's all about priorities, my friend. But anyway, there's more audio podcasts at purplepitstudios.com like we talked about. So go there, check out those, subscribe, tell your friends, share us, and please email me too, as well. So anyway, why can't people be civil to one another? Why do people have to be just, incredible shits to each other? I don't get it. And that's what I kind of want to delve into on this episode of the podcast today, as we're speaking here on Wise Thoughts, civility in our nation and in the world, but boy, in the United States, people can be real shitheads to each other. They're real shits to each other. Nasty. I mean, downright nasty. I've talked about this on past episodes of the podcast. You can look for the titles escape me. You know, the other person that helps me, Mr. Producer Extraordinaire, says, you know, we just should start numbering the podcast, you know, episode number, blah, blah, and then put a title. That way people can find it, and then you can do a reference and say, hey, make sure you go to episode, 174 or 210 or episode 50. I don't know. Maybe someday we'll get that intricate with the podcast. However, that being said, there's past episodes up at the purplepitstudios.com under the Wise Thoughts program. I talked about the negative influences of social media on American society, not just around the world, but big time in the United States. There's a lot of y'all running around there that think, you think more of yourself than you should. And also just a general breakdown of society, especially because I live in the United States and I look at the metrics. I see the metrics here almost every other day. You're listening from around the world. A big portion of you are in the United States, but we've got people listening, overseas, in Europe, down south, all over the place. India, in Russia, believe it or not. In South America, they're listening. Canada. So the reach is worldwide, but the majority of you listening to me on the program are in the United States. So again, since I live in the United States, that's what I'm going to speak from a point of reference on. So, that being said, wow, people can be real shits to each other here in the USA, and I have found that it has really, really, really ramped up with the onset of social media, more people using social media. I mean, let's face it, folks, everywhere you look around, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, what else is out there? Instagram. I know I'm missing quite a few out here. People want their 15 minutes plus of fame and attention. There's a lot of you out there that are starved for attention. And these keyboard social justice warriors, which I think are probably the most pathetic excuses for human beings on the planet, to sit behind a keyboard and put yourself on a pedestal, mind you, like you are better than the rest of us down here. And, you've got carte blanche on what people should do, how they should think, how they should act, how they should respond, what their morals should be based on your set of criteria is just completely asinine. Asinine. And I can use much stronger words, but that just fits right there. That you're asinine. You're acting asinine. And, most of you out there are probably eating Pop-Tarts or Hot Pockets, living in mom's basement, unemployed or unemployable. And you're just pathetic excuses for human beings. Now, while social media and things like that, with the advent of the internet, can be a great thing, it can be a great thing, mind you, but boy, oh boy, I see just so much abuse, especially with the use of social media, people just starting shitstorms and fights. And, there's been people arrested, there's been people killed over social media fights, there's been physical harm to people. There's been threats. It's just maybe just too much information for the human mind to handle at one time. I grew up in a different era, like some of you out here. I have crossed the 50 threshold quite a while back, and I grew up in a different area where you get your information by actually talking to people, by actually reading. And by reading, I don't mean, a two-line thing or, what they call it nowadays, clickbait, where man kicks woman in face. Oh, okay, wow, what's going on? But if you read into the context of, stuff on the internet, because they call that clickbait, they get you to click on the story and then see the advertisements and everything. Man kicks woman in the face, and I'm just making up a fictitious story, by the way. You click onto that man kicks woman in face story and you dig deeper as he falls from ladder. Okay, so it wasn't like, he got pissed off at a woman and he kicks her in the face. It's guy fell off a ladder and on his way down he happened to kick woman in the face. Maybe she was holding the ladder, maybe she was walking by, and while he was falling and flailing, you see what I'm saying? And people get riled up on snippets of information, albeit either out of context or put forward falsely with malice and intent by either organizations, political organizations, people that have an axe to grind against a company, or a company that has an axe to grind against people or a certain segment of society, so on and so forth. Maybe two groups, factions of different political beliefs, different social beliefs, different economic beliefs are fighting with each other, so they put out little snippets of information, and people just lose their shit and can't treat people civilly. We have lost the ability in the United States of America, and it really didn't take too long. Now, I know what some of you are out there thinking, Terry, there were riots in the 60s. Look at the Watts riots, look at the riots and, during blackouts in New York City and et cetera, et cetera. The stuff with George Floyd riots, all year during 2020. This is nothing. Well, hang on. Let's pump the brakes for a second. You are absolutely correct. There have been risings and riots and formations of groups of people that have either A, been disenfranchised, or B, felt disenfranchised or oppressed, whether it be politically, economically, or socially, all throughout history. I get you. Now, what I would propose to you, though, is this line of thought, or something to ponder, as it were. Yeah, we had the Watts riots. We had, the riots and the uprisings in the South when people were fighting for civil rights. The black community was fighting for equal civil rights, which definitely were oppressed people. But those things rose up, and then cooler heads prevailed in the end. When is the last time you heard about something going on for almost a year as far as rioting? And please, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm referring specifically to the year 2020 with the whole George Floyd fiasco, okay? From March, we had March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. This went on for over 7 months, my friends, and then some. Because other nefarious, evil groups, Antifa, just to name one off the top of my head, kind of infiltrated into this circumstance, insinuated themselves, snuggled in like a cat or a kid trying to snuggle in between mom and dad in bed, and inserted themselves into something and caused more problems as well. And then you had the BLM movement as well, too, getting out of hand, where people infiltrated the BLM movement, and now we're finding out how much fraud was going on with them. Maybe they had all good intentions when they started, but, you had people, stealing funds from all these corporate and private donations. And remember when that was all the rage? Give to the BLM. Give to the BLM movement. It was all the rage. Give to Black Lives Matter. Where did all that money go? Where's the investigations? Where's the accountability? Where are the people that are going to go to jail for fraud, misappropriation of funds? But anyway, I'm diverging from my topic of conversation. But people not being able to treat each other civilly. Okay, civility has really gone out the window in the United States. You see it all over, and again, I'm speaking right now in reference to social media, I think has really ignited it. It is called, it's like gasoline on a smoldering match. People get online and you get these, like I said, these woke social justice keyboard warriors that's, with their snarky comebacks and then threats, innuendo, doxing. We haven't even talked about doxing. For those of you who don't know what doxing is, how many people, political leaders, entertainers, whatever, doxing is when you look up someone's information on the internet and you send a mob to their house to intimidate them with violence and intimidate them. We had it happen to a justice of the Supreme Court with a recent political ruling, with a ruling that they did. Totally against the law to do that. Doxing should be against the law and should be punishable by not just a fine, but I'm thinking a minimum of at least 5 years in prison. And I'm not talking country club prison where you check in at 9 o'clock and go home to your house at 5 and wear the ankle bracelet. I'm talking 5 years in fucking prison. I don't know if anyone has been killed by being doxed. I'm sure there have been fatalities. None jump to the front of my mind at this time. But you've got that as well. You've got doxing going on because people can't be civil. They got to get the last word in. They got to get that last cutting-edge remark. They got to have the last laugh, however you want to phrase it. Now, also, people just can't respect workers anymore. You go to a business. Let me set the premise here, folks, okay? When you go to that McDonald's, Tim Hortons, Jack in the Box, Popeyes, Taco Bell, Walmart, whatever. You go to a business, retail or not, regular or not retail, that worker is just that. They're a worker. They don't own the company. In 99.99999% of the cases, they don't own the company. They're just there doing a job, and they have limitations. And if they can't help you do something, or if they can't solve your problem for you, maybe another department can or someone else, but a lot of you self-righteous, narcissistic people nowadays in the modern era lose your shit and all your civility. Workers have been killed by the general public. We just had a story a few short months ago where someone went to a fast food joint. I can't recall the name of it. However, they had their mother, I guess, with them, and their fries were cold, and some sick asshole went and beat the hell out of the worker. There was some kind of maybe verbal altercation, and killed the worker at the business because of the fries were cold is what started the argument. I've seen people on videos, people breaking into establishments because they had to pay an extra 79 cents for extra sauce and losing their shit. People taking shits on counters of places. And we're not talking, in some cases, I'm sure in some cases these are mentally unstable people that maybe are off medication or just, half a dozen eggs short of a carton. But we're talking about people that have no excuse, no formidable reason of why they lost their shit and their civility. I mean, you can't even, for the most part, talking politics or social issues with people nowadays is like, it's like walking across broken glass or walking across hot coals. Because a lot of you out there, let's just be blunt and honest, you're fucking children, you're babies. You want your way, people should think your way, and if they don't, fuck you. That's the attitudes that you have. And it's unfortunate because this country was not founded on principles like that, my friends. The United States of America, yes, while we've had our problems, we fought a civil war, we had political disagreements and our share of in-house fighting. But at the end of the day, we all managed to calm ourselves, pull back from the edge, sit down and speak with each other in a somewhat civil tone so we could come to some type of equitable, rational solution to the issue or the grievance. But in today's society, it is so hyperbolic that everyone would be too general a statement. A lot of you out there just lose your shit at the drop of a hat. Children do that, my friends. Children do that. And in the United States of America, we have millions of spoiled, overgrown children running around. And I'm not talking about children 10, 12, 14, 15. I'm talking about those of you masquerading as adults, but you're really fucking children. Just pull up YouTube, people behaving badly. You'll see thousands of videos. And you know what? A lot of them come from the USA, of people not behaving, being civil to one another, being respectful. I was brought up to respect people, even if I didn't agree with them, to respect people, okay, to at least listen to the other side. I'm not saying you have to agree. No one's forcing you. It's but this faction, this cult that has invaded the United States of America over the last decade or so, that has seeped into our society, seeped into our institution and our culture, and is now a cancer on this nation. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I feel we are at a tipping point these next 5 years or so in the U.S. And I'm not saying that to be dramatic. I'm not saying that to say, ooh, to get the likes or get the views or get the listens on the podcast. I'm telling you exactly how I feel. I think this is a critical time in the Republic of the United States of America. We got to really, really, really be careful. There's a lot of smack talk out there from all sides, no matter what side of political spectrum or social spectrum you're on. People talk about, ooh, civil war could be coming. Folks, you don't want a civil war. I've watched enough documentaries on the actual Civil War. You don't want that bloodshed in our streets. Having to go home and wonder, if your house will be burnt to the ground, if your family's going to be alive, any knock on the door, you don't know if someone's going to shoot you in the face or whatever. You don't want a civil war in this country. You don't want it. Because it'll be devastating. Devastating. Millions will die, I'm telling you. Because it'll be fought in the streets. In this type of day and age when we have all this technology and everything, people say, oh, it'll just be a bunch of drones, fighting back like a video game. No, folks, it won't be like a video game. That old expression, war is hell. Talk to a veteran who's seen active combat, who's had to kill people, seen people killed. Watch the first 20, 30 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. Because you know what? That's probably the most accurate, gruesome spectacle of carnage. And if you talked, I remember when I went and saw that movie, I talked to some World War II veterans that knew people that were at Omaha Beach and that. And they said it was like that and worse. They got close, but it was nothing like the movie because it was 100 times worse. And all of them had the same reaction. I didn't run into one person that I talked to that said, oh, yeah, well, yeah, the movie, it exaggerated. No, it was 100 times worse. You don't want that here. Trust me. You don't want that here. Because when you see your friends and loved ones blown up, shot, maimed, wondering how you're going to eat, that's not a way to live. And it all is boiling down to the fact that we just can't be civil to one another. We can work out the problems we have in this country if we would, all sides, be willing to say, you know what, I don't agree with you. I wholeheartedly don't agree with you. I'm adamant about this or that issue. But at least get in a room, talk, find some common ground that all sides can be satisfied with. But we've gone to this, it's my way or nothing on all sides. My way or nothing. My way or fuck you. That's basically what it is. I want what I want, fuck you. I don't care. And that's what's destroying this country. And that's what's going to continue to erode and destroy this country. Because we can't be civil to one another. And it's a shame. It's a crying shame that we just can't be civil to one another. And a lot of you out there, you claim to be Catholic or Muslim or Buddhist or Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever. You'll go sit and practice your religion, and practice your faith, which is good. It's great. And then if somebody cuts you off in traffic, you've got rage. and you say the most foul, vile things and, road rage and everything else, or if someone doesn't agree with you politically, you're ready to throw down with somebody. Again, overgrown children. Now, a lot of you say, well, what's the solution? We're at this point, but, what's the solution? Well, the solution is just take a breath and step back. We've got to be able to, talk with one another. We've got to be able to at least empathize a little bit with the other side. Try and look at it from someone's point of view. And negotiate and understand a little bit. And at the end of the day, try to come together. We've got to start being civil to each other on all levels. All levels. One of the big hot topics in the United States right now, as of the recording of this podcast, is what many perceive as the indoctrination of our children in our schools with these drag shows and homosexuality and things like that. And it's something I really don't agree with, but the way it's being presented is really strong too. You're getting one side's point of view. They're indoctrinating, and then the other side. How about getting all parties in a room and say, listen, we want to make sure the kids don't grow up with being prejudicial towards people in the gay and lesbian community. All right. Maybe the best thing is not to, at 5, 6, and 7 years old, have these conversations, but maybe wait until their minds are a little more developed. Why don't we start this maybe at the high school level and leave anything younger for the parents to take care of? Because at the end of the day, government, these are not your children. These are the children of their parents. You are not to raise them. The parents are. That's their job. And parents, start raising your children instead of throwing them in front of a TV or giving them a tablet for their 5th birthday and sending them off into the room somewhere so you won't be bothered. Start raising your kids, teaching your kids. You have responsibility in this as well. But maybe get these parties that are involved in this into a room and have some long, drawn-out conversations and some back and forth and come to a compromise. Be civil to one another. I know a lot of families that fight worse than you would with strangers. The backstabbing, the snarkiness, the, talking behind each other's back. It doesn't lead to anything good. But now it's just evolved and it's just infested every facet of our society is now infected with the ability of us not being able to be civil to one another. Yeah. And it's a shame. It really is. Well, I hope I'm giving you something to think about. Think how you treat people. Think how you're treated. And like I always say at the end of every podcast, if you want to see a change in the world, you have to be the change you want to see in the world. It all starts with you, the person looking back at you in the mirror every day. Thanks for listening to Weiss Thoughts. And remember, if you like the show, please give us a positive rating and review. Share us with your friends. And go to purplepitstudios.com to check out more episodes of Weiss Thoughts. And also check out all the other shows we have available. It's all at purplepitstudios.com. Until next time, I look forward to speaking with you on the next episode of Weiss Thoughts. You have yourself a great day.